Y'all, where are we at again? We at Chocolate Espresso Podcast. All right, listen, man. I'm back.
I want to add some energy.
You know what? You earned an extra 3 seconds on your intro. Okay, all right. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. We'll just take it from Des. All right, so I'm your host, Thomas Dewar, whatever floats your fancy. And we back at it again with the Americanos. You know, it's the regulars, the smegglers, you know, the clowns, the goofies, the regulars. I said that already, right? Anyway, we're just going to let them go around and introduce themselves super quick.
Too much.
We're going to have to do camera 2. You know what? Skip her. Camera 3, because she got so much to say. Camera 3, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. It's Imana here. Happy to be here.
You got another 3 seconds. Go ahead.
Oh, you know, I'm a guest here, so you know it's new to be joining the Chocolate Espresso Podcast as a non-artist. So
Yeah. I'm going to shorten your intro even more. Camera 2, please. Camera 2, please.
Oh wait, hold up. Oh, somebody else.
No, keep it on her. Keep it on her. Embarrass her. Let's do it.
She tapping out.
Let's do it. Okay, I'm joking. All right, camera fall. Go ahead.
Alizé in the building. What's up?
King Des in the building.
All right, now camera 2.
Hey, Taneja. Anyway, Taneja, Leah, whatever you want to call me, whichever floats your way.
What did he say?
Taneja, Leah, whichever you want to call me, whichever floats your fancy.
I ain't hear fancy. I heard boat. Something. I don't know. Maybe I'm deaf.
That
I
is
don't know
the
what I
saying.
heard.
Whatever floats your boat.
Yes, it's the same, but I don't know what I heard from her.
Is there a saying that says
Taneja,
whatever floats
Leah,
your ferry?
Whichever floats your fancy or your boat, whichever you want to float. Whatever, I don't know.
Some. All right. So we got questions here. I don't know how to state the question, so I'm gonna just give the microphone to somebody who knows how to state it. Because I'm at a loss. Go ahead and do camera flow. Let them two figure it out.
There was a better way of explaining that. Anyway.
I wasn't the one that came up with the topic, so I just want to make sure that you know.
So the question today that is, with all that we know now, with you raising your kids, would you raise your kids under like
generational
way, or what you know now, like evolved way?
This is why I didn't want to ask that question.
The traditional way.
I was going to trip up on it too.
Yeah.
Was it going to be me?
Question. What method would you raise your kids, based off of general habits or based off of the information you know today?
Look, they still can't get the question out. This is why.
I feel like everybody should have had their chance.
Go ahead. Let's see how you would phrase that question. Since you got something to say, go ahead. How would you phrase it?
The question today is, do you plan on, when you have kids, do you plan on raising them the traditional way, like how it's been done in your family, or the more evolved way? Like, let's just say if you went to therapy, now you got your life straight and figured out, do you plan on raising your kids a new way?
Nicely
See, y'all all
said,
said something very similar and extremely different at the same time. How would you phrase that question? Because I'm at a loss here. I'm more confused now than I was the 15 minutes in between.
I was on the same page as the traditional way versus like a more healed version or a different version of self. But I feel like it's a difficult. The question itself is like
loaded.
It's loaded because like it's assuming that when you become a parent, like you're not gonna become a creature of habit. You know what I mean? Like I think that's the thing about it. It's like what you actively decide to change, you have to be like trying to change. You know, so if you want to raise your kid in a different way, you're going to have to be very conscious about it because...
And life happens.
Let's just be clear. She made a statement. She asked a question at first and then changed the question to a statement.
Oh, my gosh.
So I'm going to see if I can ask the question because now I want to get on this confusion action here. I would phrase this confusion going on at this table as such. If you're planning on having kids, when you plan on having those kids... Are you going to have those kids when you healed and you know how to better raise them than your previous childhood? So you don't pass on the trauma and all the confusion, the weirdness, and everything else that was wrong of your childhood and give your children a better childhood than you? Am I wrong? Is that not the case?
You are wrong.
This is what I'm just like. This is not it.
One.
It's
no,
not
you're
it.
You're being one. No, you're being
Why?
one.
No. That's what you said. That's what you said. You said that. You said that. And you kind of said that. I don't know. But that's what you said.
You did not.
What did I not hear? That's what I heard.
Phrase the question.
That's what I heard.
Phrase the question.
For the camera.
Let me try and phrase it in a very succinct way. One sentence.
I'm still stuck on the what happened.
If you are to have children,
It's killing me.
what will you keep from your tradition in your family, and what will you let go?
Her
and
statement changed, by the way.
Can we just answer the question?
That was not the first thing you said.
What the
That's
question
the first
is.
thing she said, y'all.
Everybody understands what the question is? Yes,
No.
yes. Okay, good.
I don't
Can we
understand it.
answer
They don't understand it.
Then sit down.
What
on
are you
it.
keeping and what are you letting go? Is that not part of this larger
That is.
conversation? When you parent your
Okay.
kid, what are you keeping? And
Yes.
what are you saying? Nah, I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna take the door off my kid's room when they disobey me. I'm not gonna repeat the pattern. What are you gonna keep and what are you not going
Now
to
do
keep?
you
Okay,
understand?
camera one. Okay, let's
Now
start
do you
there.
understand?
That makes clear sense.
After
Why couldn't
25
that?
minutes.
Why was that not the question the first time? Why was that not stated an hour ago at this point?
question to
I just
begin
want to
with.
know why this was so hard. Why did we have to go round tabletop question and statement to get to this point?
That was the
I just
question
wanna
from the
know.
beginning.
What did I do wrong? I wasn't even a part of this. I just want to get on the confusion. All right.
That was
Listen.
the question from the beginning. Your listening comprehension skills are poor. So,
Shots fired. What did I do to you?
Well, maybe it was just a moment. We all make mistakes.
and this is the reason why you don't have an intro.
Thank you. I ain't the only one that sees this, right? Thank you.
Since she's high and ready today, let me answer the question first. One of those
High
things.
five on that one. I'm on. Thank you.
What did I do?
One of those things that I plan to implement, right? And I'll just say it's a plan, it's a forethought, but life happens. I
We.
want to, huh? What?
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 Huh?
Can I finish my answer? 'Cause you threw me off.
Go ahead.
Okay, one of those things that I plan to implement. What are you saying?
I'm not saying nothing. Focus on you. Do you? Leave me out of it. I ain't do nothing. I'm over here minding my business.
Yo, wait a minute.
Jeez.
Okay.
Oh
This is all staying in there, by the way. It should. Just tell Joe. One of the things that I plan to implement. I don't know what you're saying. It's stressing me out.
Jesus
One of the things that I plan to implement is communication, open communication with my kids, an open line of
Ours?
communication. I don't want.
We don't want.
I don't want.
We don't want.
It's just
The anxiety is building. Am I the only
You're
one?
whispering. What are you saying?
I'm not. Go ahead. Don't mind me.
I know what he's saying.
I do not know.
Gosh.
They
Okay.
don't know.
One of the things that
Yes.
whatever you're saying,
don't
doesn't
mind
matter.
me. I'm not
One of
doing
the
it.
things that I plan to
We
implement when I
are
have
planning
kids
on
is an open line of communication between
Us.
myself and my kids. I don't want them
Ourselves
to
and our
feel
kids.
like, especially my daughter,
don't want
I
our
don't
daughter.
want them to feel like they can't come to me and communicate with me. Like it took some time. It took a long time for me and my mom to be able to communicate and for that open line of communication to happen. So I don't want the things that I have gone through, went through alone, or just without, being able to communicate with my mom. I don't want my kids to feel that way about
We
me.
don't want our kids to feel that.
What do you think contributed to not being able to talk to your mom?
My mom's mom, she can't talk to her. And what contributed to that? Well, I don't know. My grandmother was born 1954. Shout out to you, mama.
Don't be dating grandma.
So
Grandma 25, by the way.
shout out to you, Grams. But my mom, my grandmother was born in 1954, and I don't know how long ago her mom was born, so they were that generation that the connection wasn't there, And then my mom was born, 1976, so you got to think about that.
Don't be
that
dating my mom.
Connection.
Mom's also 26.
Anyway.
Winning points with the.
So that's one of the things that I want to implement and change
We want to
with
implement
what
in
I
our
know
family.
now with my kids. So
With
next,
our kids.
I don't know.
Because
I give up.
Whatever is going on over there right now, it's not stressing me out.
I give up with what he's saying. He's stressing all of us out.
I promise you.
Maybe if
I'm
y'all wore y'all headphones, y'all
I'm
would
gonna
have
say
possibly heard what I was saying. But
One that I definitely adopt now is like it's almost kind of like that, more like an open form of communication, but it's more so an expressing of character, embracing all of my child's expressions of character, and actually having them be able to form their own identity earlier on in their stages. I was often told to stay in a kid's place, and even though I do agree that there is certain things that a child shouldn't be exposed to, a child exposing you to themselves is them. So you should allow for that specifically.
Agreed.
When I was growing up, there were so many times where I've noticed things that were your parent just didn't care about, or that, you know, they were just like, it wasn't important to them and what they're doing because they're adults and they have these other parts of lives, but I was just trying to be a kid and be myself. And you just get kind of like psychologically neglected, and it's not in a bad, like your parent hates you, but it's just like they don't care. They're like, oh, you're just a kid. But there is some actual level of value to that, and you might be afraid, scared to communicate, scared to express yourself, scared to be open-minded because you feel shut into a box that only comes off of your parents' approval. So yeah, definitely allow for expression in all forms.
And add addition to what you were saying, and this is kind of like we agree on this level, like whatever when stuff would happen with me, my parents would always just say, like my family in general would just say, you're dramatic, you're being dramatic, you're so dramatic. But I think that we miscount that whatever a child is feeling, that's all they know. That's their world. So it's small to you because you're an adult and you know bills, you know a mortgage, you know this, you know that, right? But them breaking a toy is all they know. That's their toy. That's their favorite toy.
They play that toy. That is devastation.
Yes.
Right. But to be fair, you were being dramatic though. So
But you were being dramatic in the context of an adult, in the context of a child.
But you were being dramatic.
Normal reaction.
Correction.
Very normal reaction.
Right.
Typical
But
reaction.
very dramatic.
This is why he gets ignored.
Right.
Am I?
Are we ignoring the fact that you were being dramatic though? Because
Are we on the same page, y'all? That this is why we ignore him?
Wait a minute. Wait.
Okay.
Wait.
You're gonna cancel
Hold on,
culture me in
'cause
this spot room?
Yep. Cancel.
No, when you sit here and say being dramatic, I do understand in the context of you guys talking like to
If you
a
don't
kid.
stop squeaking that chair, boy, please sit still. 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
He looking around like he don't know what we talking about. You.
We know what you like.
We talking to you.
Sorry, go
He
ahead.
still squeaks.
We just had to educate a kid in this pod room.
First of all,
He ain't got no more intro. He ain't gonna get no outro at this point, y'all. Cause
You losing podcast time, my boy. Go ahead, Jen.
But that's not what mine is. But I'm saying when you saying being dramatic, and him saying you was being dramatic like that. I get what he's saying because it's like if you break your toy, I can understand you crying and understandably upset about it. But what I'm saying you being a little dramatic or we're not gonna have is you sitting here wanting to destroy something else because you done destroyed that. Like, wait a minute.
That's destruction. That's
you
not.
parent them at that point.
Yeah,
That's about
the same thing.
That's like a different level of emotional regulation. Like
Yeah.
you're trying to help them. You're not going to help that kid like get back down to center by telling them they're being dramatic. You're
Yes, that
actually
is
just adding gasoline to the flame, likely because now they feel even more misunderstood. You
I mean,
know.
also think about it from this aspect. What if that's what triggers that behavior? What if you are seen as being dramatic or what have you, and so you're like, okay, you're not really getting it, so I'm gonna just start yelling.
Let me
screaming
show you
outside.
drama.
Let me show you. Let me get your attention so you can get it. Like how devastating this is for me. That's a natural response.
Okay,
A lot of
so
people do
you saying telling me your kid came and start crying, mommy, I broke my toy. I'm like, okay, baby, I'm trying to fix it, and they start screaming.
Can I just say
no.
that was an example? Like that was the first example that came to my mind. Not something for us to run with and make a whole podcast out of it. I was just saying that was an example.
But he did it. That's why I said something because he did something. But you weren't.
because it is dramatic. Like I'm gonna listen, when we got kids and the kid breaks a freaking toy and he over there crying his little lungs off, I'm be like, stop being dramatic because
it's
you
okay.
being
You'll
dramatic.
be in therapy before we have kids.
You being dramatic. Be a man, boy. Listen, I was told to be a man, boy.
Problematic within itself.
Why are you?
That's so problematic.
I have a genuine question. What do you think what lesson do you think that kid is gonna take.
Not everything's worth crying over.
And on top of that,
That little toy right there is replaceable.
As a boy, you're not supposed to cry. You're not supposed to express your
I
emotions.
didn't say nothing about that.
No,
I
you
said be
didn't
a
say
man,
that.
boy.
You didn't say that,
Be a
but that's what
man.
he
There are
internalized. What
times
does
where
that
a
mean?
young man needs to learn to be a young man. He needs to learn what it means to be a man
And
in
men are
our
doing
society.
that well, right?
Okay, so at 3 years old, if he breaks
You
his
want
toy, he
them
needs
to
to learn
become
what
a
it means.
man like the rest of them. I'm sorry, we
forget
have
it.
issues.
What
We
happened?
have some issues.
Right.
Okay,
Y'all be
hold on,
shooting
hold
up
on.
schools. Y'all be having issues with your aggression. Y'all be doing a lot of things. I don't think you should be just jumping on the be a man boat.
I think that
That's
okay.
kinda
Hold
dangerous.
on. I think part of the major issue with young men having these aggression issues come from men not being able to have an outlet to being young men. Young boys used to fight
So you
and
just
get
took-
over it.
so you just
Instead,
took
we
away
can't
his
fight no
outlet.
more because we get expelled. So guess what? Now I gotta get it you another way.
Okay, but you
What
just
happened?
took away his outlet.
Yeah,
wanted-
no,
he wanted
we
to
didn't
cry.
take our outlet.
No.
The
You
crying
just-
was not an
you just
outlet.
took
Crying
away
when
his- it is an outlet.
Crying
historically
wasn't an outlet, but crying also wasn't an option.
as
You
young
just took
men,
away his outlet.
as young men, we have to teach them that there are things you cry over. Spilled milk ain't something to cry about.
But in his small mind, in his 3-year-old mind,
And you teach
he
that
spilled
young
his
man.
milk. That's the only thing he knows.
Okay,
He don't
if
know
a
your
6-year-old little
bills.
boy crying over spilled milk, I'm gonna look at him like being a man because that's spilled milk. If a
Okay,
3-year-old
hold on,
baby
hold on,
spilled the
wait a
milk, that's a
minute.
different
Okay,
story.
Let's how about we talk about the fact that at 6 years old he's not a man. So don't tell him to be a man. He's
Eyes
got
to see
what,
the glory.
He shouldn't be treated
12
as one.
years to be a man.
You should absolutely not be treated as a man when he's a kid. still.
The
Absolutely
sta-
not.
okay,
That's
so
the
you heard the
balance.
statement
That's the
and you're
balance.
rolling with the idea that that child is still a child, yes, but saying be a man boy does not necessarily equate to me equating that child as a grown adult. Being a man means you're learning to become a young adult, a teenager.
Yeah, but that's not
and
what
so
that-
forth and
that's
so
not
forth.
what that
You can
gets
still be a
internalized
child
as.
and give them certain teachings that educate them into learning how to become
Without
a
using toxic
decent
terminology.
person. That's not
Yes.
a toxic term.
Yes,
It
yes,
is
it
because-
is. It's very
because
problematic.
What it means to be a man, in every single talk I've had, I don't know. I've been watching different podcasts actually with men who talk about like men's issues, right? And they talk specifically about the term, what it means when they've been told to be a man, and when that happened to them, and what they learned through it. And they all discuss multiple different occasions of them repressing their emotions, not being their full selves, not expressing themselves the way that we were just talking about earlier as a desired for future generations. So I'm just kind of like, I don't necessarily think that it makes much sense to tell a kid to be a man. They don't know all the context of that, and all they're gonna do is look on TV and think, I'm gonna perform, I'm gonna put on a mask and
Yep.
pretend to be something that you want me to be as my parent. They're not
Yes.
gonna actually mature there.
They're
not learning how to deal with the disappointment of their toy or their milk spilling.
They're not actually
just
learning how to be
that
a
they
man.
need to pretend that they're okay.
Yeah.
There's an actual response to that because I've
So give it.
read those, I've seen those,
Yeah.
right? The issue of what you're referring to is that you had a toxic person implementing that statement at a toxic time, not a healthy person educating a child in a healthy way to teach them to become a man, right? When you had a generation of men that watched their child's, in quote, spill their milk, cry, and then just told them to be a man and not educate them on how to properly have an outlet, a safe outlet for their emotions, and to educate them how to regulate those emotions, not suppress them, but regulate them in a healthy way. That's the major difference in it. Saying to be a man in a healthy way is not toxic. The
Just wonder,
statement
how do you
itself
do
is
it?
being attacked, and the way it's being attacked is that statement alone is just toxic.
So why don't
It's
you
not
just
necessarily
say?
toxic.
Why don't you, instead of saying be a man, why don't you do what you were gonna say afterwards? Like, why
Help
don't
him
you?
emotionally regulate.
What's the connection, right? Why don't you finish the sentence instead of completely cut out the be a man terminology?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you just say everything X, Y, and Z that you were gonna say that encompasses be a man in this moment and how it applies to his scenario?
Because if you don't distinguish what a man is from everything else, then what are you? That's when you start to lose part of your personality, part of your identity.
No. How you start to lose part of your personality is when you're not allowed to cry when things hurt your feelings. Because now
But
you got a
certain
whole bunch of men walking around here being robots. Now you got a whole bunch of men who don't know how to express their emotions, don't know what intimacy is, don't know how to approach things in emotional standpoint. I get that men are supposed to be they're created to be logical creatures, but you have a person who's a logical creature and supposed to be engaging with a woman who is naturally emotional. That's why you that's why you have oil and water. It makes oil and water because he doesn't know how to emotionally communicate.
I think there is a
Leave
level.
the emotions to the girls, right? Let the emotions be felt by the women and then held by the women, and then in relationships with women, hope that they can hold all of them, right? Like, and I feel like that's where it kind of can often spiral out, like, and just create a cycle. But I think that being like trying to figure out how to be an example is probably the method rather than saying be a man, because like I said, a child doesn't know what that is.
That's what I said. Yeah.
But you have to
Give
teach the child
To teach them,
at
you don't
certain
just
levels.
tell them be a man, you show them.
Right, and that's what I've been saying.
And
But
you
the
help them
statement was
regulate their
attacked.
emotions. You help them figure out why they're upset and what to do with their emotions.
But you can't do that today because regardless of how you do that as a man, it's being attacked. Think about that. Like, okay.
So
I
to
agree.
answer the
Okay,
question,
I
you
agree
plan on
with
raising
you.
your kids traditionally. Okay, I was go
I-
ahead and explain how
she
you were
didn't even
saying.
let me finish. I just said I agree with what you're saying. I agree with how you should be able to be more emotional, and to an extent, you should be able to share and understand your emotions. That's just across the board, right? People need to know how to understand what they're feeling and how to regulate that, because there are going to be times in life where you're being dramatic. Period. Like, this does not, spilled milk does not need to be cried over. If you walked 10 miles to get the milk, that's a whole nother story, because that was a mission and you just failed it. But
So it's okay to cry then over the milk.
bro, you just failed a mission. You walked 10 miles for milk. Are we joking right now? Like, that's a whole nother
I'm
story.
a little kid. I got up on the counter. I got a cup down. I'm a little kid. I got opened the
How
fridge.
old is the
I was
kid?
actually
How old
able
is
to
the
open
kid?
the
You know what?
fridge.
How old is-
I got the
You
milk
my
out the
dad.
cabinet.
About a 3-year-old.
I spilled it. I mean, I poured it. It kept spilling over. You came in and you yelled at me, and now I'm crying over the
If
milk
you
that spilled.
3 years old, I'm not yelling at you. If
No.
you
You know
6
what?
years
No, no,
old,
no, no, no,
be a
no.
man.
No, no, no.
Get over it.
That's what happened with my
I'm
dad.
not yelling at
I
my
think
children,
he walked 10
leaving that
miles to
behind.
get milk, and like he dropped that shit, and then he like, you know what, I can't handle this, and he left. You know what I'm saying?
He never came back.
And that's exactly why men need to learn to regulate their emotions. Let's think about
That was a good one. Okay, you earned an extra 1 second for your intro. Okay.
Y'all are the worst.
Good Lord.
Oh, okay. Oh, back to the topic at hand.
Right.
This all plays into like how you're gonna raise children and what the
I feel like
difference
that's
is.
a whole podcast part 2.
Yeah.
Bruh.
I'm leaving out the yelling though. I'm not gonna yell at my kid.
I don't think anyone needs to yell or physically harm their child to educate them on something. I'm not a fan of that either.
It's also not my communication style, so I know it's not gonna be that hard for me not to do it. I know some people, that is part of their communication style, is their voice gets louder, and when you have a kid, oops, the kid is doing stuff across the house, all of a sudden you yelling at them.
However, I don't agree with the idea that we don't say the N-word in the home. We're gonna say no.
That's a whole podcast.
The word no is going to exist in the home.
You said no N-word in the home?
Yeah.
No word, no.
The
word
N-word is
no.
no. The word
N-word
no.
is
N
no.
is no.
Oh, gotcha.
And people that say we don't say the N-word in our home, and it's the word no because they don't tell their kids no, is disturbing.
Here's a little short story on that.
I'll be the first one to tell that kid no.
I worked, oh my God. 2020, I was working at a rec center. And it was the set of kids that would be bad. Like, come to work, throw stuff at the teachers. I'm gonna call them teachers, but they weren't really teachers, but the workers. They would come and like throw stuff at them and talk back, curse and all of that. And I'm like, what is going on? And one time the parent came in and was like, oh no, he had a bad day. And then she explained they don't say no, and they did this whole set of rules. And I'm looking, I'm like, well, that's the issue right there. Because for one, they didn't know how to take us saying no to them. Can I go play in the gym? Not right now. It's not the time for that. You got to do this. Mad, throw some. And then it also could be what the parents doing, because me, even though I was working with them, if the kid's soft coloring, I'm coloring. And he never threw nothing at me. Because he'll look at me, can I do this? No. And he'll look at me and I'm looking at him do it. I don't care about getting fired.
Do it.
Like, I don't care about getting fired.
I don't know what you and your mama got going on, but that ain't it.
But like I said, he never threw nothing at me though, and he never cussed at me. He'll come, get checked in, take his temperature, go in the classroom. If I say do something, he'll do it. It was smooth sailing with me.
But you told him to throw it. He didn't throw it.
I know. I did not tell him not to throw it. I just gave him a look. Granted,
Oh, that's one thing I will be implementing. I'm gonna keep that.
Oh, you need
I'm
to
gonna keep that.
You absolutely need
Because
to
that
look.
look.
like if you're not gonna physically do any, if you're not gonna physically do that look, let them know like. Not what Wayne meant though. When you also give them that look, just remember it's gonna be a time period where they gonna try that look.
They gonna look back at
When
you.
the look ain't
They're
gone.
gonna still try to be like, okay.
But if your parenting is effective, they'll only try to look once. I've only tried to look once, and I never looked.
Damn, am I bad?
Because
I'm 29 years old and never looked that way again.
But if there's a consequence or not, it's just how the brain.
It's also kind of wild though because it's like that is a fear-based tactic that our parents are using on us. So it's like you want to use fear-based tactics, or I mean, to some degree, fear is kind of natural in our world, I guess. So maybe, but I don't know.
When you remove fear completely, you deal with a disconnected human being, because a completely fearless human being also does become a risk if not kept, and that's the scary part. That's the scary part. Where it's like you're gonna do that risky, crazy thing. YOLO, bro. You be like, I'm gonna stay over here. Like,
Well, I
there's
think
balance in everything.
even within that,
That's
risk
what I
and
agree.
fear is two different things.
Yeah.
So if you're instilling risk, then they'll better understand what taking a risk means, because people can be climbing Mount Kilimanjaro is a risk, right? But that doesn't mean that even if you are feeling that risk, that you are fearful of doing it. There are people who do it every day, you know? So I don't know if I agree totally with the because here's the thing.
Handle disagreements.
Boy, shut up. Anyway, but one thing I would
It's
take
a highly
away.
emotional man. Maybe you should be a man, boy. I'm just saying.
One thing I want to change when I have kids is learn to apologize.
Oh, yeah.
When I know that I am wrong, instead of being, well, I'm the parent. Well,
And
yeah,
actually verbally
We
apologize.
apologize.
Making
Not
it very
just
clear.
not
Making it
just
very
I cooked dinner, come and
Gestures,
eat.
no gesture happening. Just true apology. Just I'm sorry. I
Yes.
made a mistake. That was
Like,
my bad.
I don't want them
It
to.
is, little Mikey. No.
Mikey. Oh my
God, it is
god.
what it is.
You adopt Mikey, or are you naming Mikey Mikey?
Like, no, just like letting them. What y'all saying that kind of sort of made my mind go blank. So let me start. I apologize to my kids. Yes.
Give that man some WD-40, please.
With the chair.
And this is why my mind be going blank, because what are y'all doing?
Need a fidget spinner or something. Just
He does.
put something in his hand. Stop him.
Yeah, I just want to apologize to my kids. It's like, oh, okay. Even though I am the parent, it doesn't mean that I know everything, because I know I don't.
Right.
So I want to, for stuff that I don't know, I want to apologize if I am wrong with it. And like you say verbally apologize to, not just well, no, like, okay, mama was wrong, mama sorry, mama
When a parent
apologize.
gives you an attitude when they mess up. Like,
Yeah, like what you give me an attitude
Or the
for?
passive aggressive apology, like, oh, I cooked dinner, come eat, or oh, I just bought you something. Like,
Or like a compliment. You come into my room when I'm
Or
crying.
the-
You're like, oh, you're so
Right,
beautiful.
or the side
yeah,
comment,
like
know I
you
love
just
you.
made me cry. And like, can we not sweep that? That's you know what? That's another thing I'm not doing in my household. Sweeping
Sweeping
stuff
it
under the rug.
Yeah.
We gonna talk about it.
And then the thing about it is sometimes like if I have to apologize and I have to add a explanation as to why, having no issue with doing so. Some stuff it might be like no.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, why? Maybe I just say no. Some stuff, okay, but some stuff when it's like I'm trying to protect you from something. I could be wrong in my delivery or the way I'm trying to protect you, but I'm trying to protect you from this. So I'm sorry for that. But still the answer is no.
And then also make it as serious as when they mess up. Make it as just as like you don't let nobody interrupt when you're correcting them or whatever. Make it
Yes.
just as serious.
Yeah,
So
make
they
the
have
apology.
That same respect.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
So then when he's like, they will know that you're taking them serious when you do that.
Agreed. I totally agree. Totally agree.
Final thoughts on the question here.
I
So
know.
y'all said
Our final
y'all.
thoughts. We're already 30 minutes into this.
Yeah, but we were not.
It's your fault. You pick
My fault.
something. You pick something and want to argue about it for 10 minutes.
Listen.
15 minutes, 'cause I watched
You
the
can't
time.
blame the host for
No, we
nothing.
blame you.
alright?
You're blamed.
I'm innocent.
You're not
I'm
blameless.
innocent. I'm innocent.
You're not without blame.
Be a man, boy.
I'm not a man. So
Don't call me boy.
Be a lady,
Boy.
woman.
I am.
Be a lady.
I am.
Yeah.
I don't need you to tell it. I don't need you to tell me that. So, how about you being a man,
You
boy?
know what? You racist.
You the one who brought up boy.
Oh my God.
I'm just following the host example.
Right.
You know what?
Right. And you're leading by example.
Just because it's gonna get cut out, you look like you do a paper bag test on me when I come in through a door.
I look like I do a paper bag test on you.
You look like you do a
Because
paper
I'm light
bag
skinned,
test.
I'm just colorist now. That's just how it works.
Yeah,
That's
racist.
That's racist.
Racist.
That was racist of you to say that. That
No,
statement.
it's not. I can't. He can't be racist against me. I'm light skinned.
Colors.
No, I can't be racist against you because
There we
I'm
go.
the host.
Actually, you can because you're in a systemic role of power. So you really could discriminate against me and oppress
He
me.
has power. You're right. Power.
I mean, if you want to take his power with a grain of salt.
Girl to a man, there's a dynamic.
I ain't gotta accept this. As the
Nobody was
host,
here. If nobody was here, what kind of podcast would he have? So, technically, we're in power.
Power of mass.
Love you.
Real power.
Power with, power over, you know?
Okay. Anyway, for the host was interrupted. All right. We could do a part 2 on this though.
Yeah, let's do part 2 because y'all didn't argue and took up all our time, and then you want to rush me now.
I
You
let
know
y'all
what?
speak. That's
You
crazy.
know what?
Yeah,
That's
but we
crazy.
only
That's
talked
fine.
about like a few things that we wanted to implement.
Yeah,
so.
part 2.
Yeah, part two.
Part 2. Part 2. Part 2.
Part two. Part two.
Part two.
Part two.
Final thoughts, part 2.
Everybody say part two.
Part 2.
Part two.
Part 2. Part 2.
Part two.
Part 2. All right. All right. Short hot take though before we do part 2. We gotta do it. All right. I got a quick question. All right.
This is a new segment, right?
Yeah, it's a new segment. So we gonna have a little disagreement with the conversation. I got opinions.
Oh boy.
I got a question, which is a statement, but it's an opinion. I need to know what your opinion is on it. All right, you gotta state it. You gotta make it quick.
All right.
You gotta make it quick. All right, listen. Would you rather marry a hot person with mediocre personality or an unattractive person with an amazing personality?
Unattractive person and amazing personality.
Yeah, because your personality gonna make you sexy to me. What's up?
Because your looks gonna fade.
That is true.
You're gonna
Yeah.
be old and wrinkly if you got it.
I honestly have no new thoughts. It's true.
Like I've always
That was a quick
believed.
question.
I always
Also,
believed
makeovers go a
low
long way.
attraction, better personality. Because overall, I need a partner who's a teammate.
This is the reason
Your
why
body
he
can't do
doesn't
nothing
have-
for me.
This is why he don't have the
This
mic.
is why.
Like,
Make it quick.
Yeah, but that wasn't quick. That wasn't quick. That wasn't quick. Well, we said it was less. You want to say, yeah. So, one time in band camp and,
That's when I am. By the
and
way,
back in my day, when I used to walk to school.
and that's how I found out I like unattractive people with great personalities. 20 minutes later. All right. That's your answers? Unattractive? I ain't no fun, man. Y'all like.
mediocre personality can't be changed. Looks.
That's true.
Plus,
They
you
can be
said,
changed.
you
But what-
said marry, right?
A trash
You said marry.
personality?
Yeah, no.
That means life.
Yeah, you said marry. Yeah,
But if you're married to them, shouldn't you be always attracted to them?
I'll be attracted
Yeah.
to what matters.
You'll be attracted
Them
to their
as a person.
personality.
Yeah.
If somebody has a crappy personality and they look good,
I won't be attracted anymore.
I won't be attracted because after
I've
a
met a
while
lot of
you
fine
get,
people.
you can't
who
even
are
talk on the
weird,
phone with them.
creepy,
because
like
like
whole host things, and no, it doesn't last. They are no longer attractive after you learn it.
Because what are you
Fades.
doing? Holding a phone to your head and a picture in your hand. Because what they're saying is crap, but you're looking at the picture like, oh yeah, you're so fine. You're cocky.
Right.
Oh my God. Y'all whack for this one. All right.
You can't FaceTime. That's what I'm saying.
Ugh. All right, we're going to do a part 2 here. Where we at again?
Chocolate Espresso Podcast.
Chocolate Espresso Podcast.
CEP.
Nah,
I
shit.
thought it was the mocha.
No,
mocha.
It's the
Caramel.
It's the Americanos.
Oh,
It's not the mocha caramel.
Marco Carmel.
I was calling the podcast. Yes, this is Americanos.
Oh my God. All right, we at Chocolate Espresso Podcast, boys, ladies, dogs, cats, I don't know.
Woof.
What's your job? Boop, 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 boops. Bumps? What? Okay.
One love.
We out.
What did he say?